and who you're representing here today, whether you're a member of the applicant, owner side, or someone else connected to the project, or a member of the community. So I will start with, it looks like P. Passman.
Hi, I'm Paul Passman. I'm DCI's corporate project manager. I'm having a hard time with the audio, so hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you just
Okay,
fine. Can you hear me?
good. Yeah,
Okay,
barely,
fantastic.
but I'm working on it.
Okay, yeah, in the bottom left of the Zoom application, there's audio and there's a little caret pointing up. If you click on that, you'll see audio settings at the bottom of that list. And sometimes Zoom has its own volume settings within the app that you can fool with to try and mitigate that. Okay, Paul Piercy, or I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Paul, I think because Paul Passman, but P. Piercy, if you could unmute.
I'm Philip Piercy. I'm a civil engineer and made the application for the variances.
Okay, great, welcome. And I have Kayla Sloan with us here too.
Hi, yes. So I'm about to go into my office, but I'm with the architect's office on this project.
Okay, great, welcome. All right, and finally we have Wes Munzel from the zoning department. Welcome, Wes.
Good morning.
Okay, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today before we get started on the applicant owner side?
I don't believe so.
Okay, great, let's get into it. Need to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll begin. So this is the January 22nd, 2025 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Starkey. I'm the zoning hearing examiner for the city. And I'll be presiding over the hearing today. The case before us today is case number ZH20240163. That's 499 East McMillan Street. Excuse me. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to present must be, or wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. For our purposes here today, I'll allow anyone from the applicant team to tell me about the project, any background they think is important, the relief that they're requesting here today, and then of course why they think I should approve that relief. One of you can speak, all of you can speak, however you want to orient the presentation is up to you. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to speak after the applicant had presented its case. I'll hear from the zoning division of the planning department and Wes Munzel to provide any testimony in addition to his staff report. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to the application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that testimony offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. Let's see, in the event of any technical difficulties, I'll do my best to, I'm sorry, guys. I'll do my best to troubleshoot those issues on the fly, but to the extent there's some defect with the tech, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. All right, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, asking any questions, making any comments, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if you know that's you, go ahead and collectively swear those folks in now. If you're not sure if you want to provide testimony, I can always swear you in later if you feel like you need to. So for everyone who's going to be testifying, please raise your right hand. Need everyone to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. All right. So who's going to be taking the lead here for us on the presentation?
I will.
All right, floor is yours.
All right. So the DCI Dialysis Clinic Incorporated operated a clinic here for many, many years. Of course, it's a dialysis clinic, so patients come here on a routine basis, typically every other day, for treatment that lasts several hours. They typically run 2 shifts at this clinic right now, in a early morning and an early afternoon shift. And so many of the variances are based on the need and the requirement to maintain care to their current patients. And so this project, while we're adding on and kind of revamping the facility, it's phased so that they can maintain those patients coming to the clinic each day. So the first phase will be making the main addition, and then the next phase will be renovating portions of the existing building, and the last phase being demolition of a portion of the existing building. And so most all these variances have to do with maintaining that service. This project was designed several years ago and came through this exact same process and obtained many of these same variances about 3 years ago. But the project was put on hold because of the cost. And so this new revamp things kind of scales that back a little bit. It gets cost under control for DCI to be able to move forward. I guess if you want to go through these individually, the first one of the location variance, of course, the existing building is at the corner.
But before we get into each one, and I do want to get into that, can you confirm then, because I do remember this project or a project coming in front of me a few years ago and approving it. You're saying none of that actually, those renovations and changes never took place. Is that
That's
right?
correct.
Okay.
They never proceeded with that construction.
Got it. Okay, great. Thanks.
So the first one I have on the list was the location variance for being built up to the corner. While it mentions Dover and East McMillan, the staff report mentioned that the corner of Sims and East McMillan, that's existing building, is built to the corner. That's the portion will be demolished later and left for future use. The corner at Dover and East McMillan is still part of the existing building. That corner of the existing building now is kind of the treatment area, and trying to add on to that is cost prohibitive. And the portion of the land left between that treatment room and the property line is not sufficiently large enough to get any kind of particular use in that corner. And so that's why that corner is left vacant. There's also quite a bit of grade difference between the main site and Dover that would be hard to accomplish. The next one, with a special exception on the ground floor transparency, I understand the East McMillan's not up for discussion since it was existing, and in proportion of that addition, I went through the process many years ago for that an addition on that one. I don't know, it may have been 15 years ago. But this part, looking at Dover, that's just part of the building that is not conducive to having a lot of windows. I always think about the windows being there to interact with the community, and the clinic doesn't really interact with public pedestrians walking on the sidewalk or something like that. And again, there's that grade difference there to accomplish. And so then there's a lot of privacy issues with medical treatment. So it just doesn't work well for this type of facility to have a lot of windows on the perimeter.
And so the corner that needs relief for not being built to the corner is Dover, McMillan Street. And that right now, are there going to be exterior changes, or is the location of the corner of the building going to change at all?
Not in that corner, no. There's just
Okay.
not enough room in there
Got
to build something that's
Got it.
productively useful.
Thanks.
The parking variance, we run into this a lot with DCI and other facilities. They have many facilities, over 200, I guess, around the country, and they just don't typically need the parking that's required by typical zoning ordinance. The patients are recommended not to drive after treatment, and so the majority of them are either dropped off by shuttle or by family member because they're staying for several hours. A family member usually drops them off and they go do something else and come back and pick them up. And so there's just not much need for parking at the site. I'm guessing typical for them is I think it was 40% of the patients would maybe drive and have a car there. And I think we've done numbers on the staff such that we would have quite a few spaces needed that's below what will be provided. I think it was 41 we estimated would be used, and I think we have 58. So there's just not a lot of need for parking on that
Okay.
from that standpoint.
And are you proposing parking to the side of the building?
Well, the facility now basically lines East McMillan, and the parking is on the south side. You know, we kind of take up a whole block. We have a public street all the way around us, so it's hard for me to figure out what's the side and what's the back. Typically, the parking is remaining where it is now on the south side of the site. And I think by y'all's standpoint, y'all were looking in the staff report, it talks about that Dover is going to be considered the front on this submittal. So there is some parking on to the side of the building on Dover, but it's really parking remaining all where it is on the south side of the building,
Okay, got it. So
which is on the
gotcha.
main street.
So it looks like there some redesign to the actual parking lot, but generally the spaces are staying the same. Is that right?
Correct. The pavement area is kind of staying the same, but we reoriented the parking to for the travel paths and to, to maximize the parking we could obtain out of the area we had remaining.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
And then that was one of the variants you mentioned, the side, as far as being on the side, we're maintaining the parking kind of where it's at. And then the last one is the front setback on Dover, where we have the building about 16 feet off the property line. And I think y'all would like to have it pulled up to the property line, and that goes back to engaging the public. There's no sidewalk on Dover, and there's quite a bit of grade change. And so pulling the building up to the property line doesn't really achieve the goals that I think you would typically have for a building pulled up to the property line. It would cause some hardship on the owner to try to build a large foundation wall on that side.
Gotcha. Let me quickly ask Wes. Wes, so are we running this review as Dover being the frontage?
Yes, Dover, well, as the applicant mentioned, the site has streets on all four sides. So yeah, Dover's the front, and then it really doesn't have a rear yard at all because it has frontage on four sides.
Got it. Okay, thanks. Sorry, Mr. Piercy. You can go ahead.
No problem. But I think that's the 5 requests that we have. The staff report summarizes all that pretty well. But again, DCI's had this clinic here for many years, wants to continue to operate it here, but needs to upgrade the facility because of the age of some, especially of some portions of the building.
Okay, so it appears to me, sort of to summarize, that most, if not all, of the relief that's requested here is based on existing conditions that aren't really changing as part of the renovation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Maybe between the parking and the setback and everything else. Okay.
Right. The building's not built to the corner on Dover now.
Yeah.
The transparency is not there now. It's not built to the property line now, and the parking's basically remaining where it's at. So.
Okay. All right. Anything else anyone from the applicant team wanted to say before I turn it over to Wes? Okay. Wes, anything you want to add?
Good morning. No, I don't think I need to add anything beyond the staff report, unless you have any questions.
Okay, great. I don't think that I do. I'll turn it back over to the applicants. Anything you all want to say in closing or otherwise before we adjourn?
I think I'm good. I appreciate y'all's efficiency and how this process works, and I appreciate y'all's help with getting this approved so we can move forward.
Okay, great. Let's leave it at that then. I've had a chance to review the application materials, and as I said, I have reviewed this property before and approved changes on this property before. So I'm familiar with the site and somewhat with the clinic itself. Based on all of that and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, I think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this application. So I'm going to approve the application. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll do everything I can to get it to you as quickly as possible. As soon as I finish that written decision, I'll put it into a PDF and I'll email it to you really just moments after it's complete. As Wes will also be on that email. As soon as you receive that, Wes can approve the zoning permitting on his end and you all can take the next steps. Any questions about any of that?
No, appreciate your help.
Okay, great. Well, good luck with the project. Thanks for your time and your testimony. If you have any questions or like a status update on the decision between now and 2 weeks, please feel free to email me directly. Otherwise, have a great day. We are adjourned.